Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Race Fight Smokehouse and Grill, and today I am super excited. This is an awesome episode. This is my entire process of dry aging an entire ribeye. Stick around, you're not going to want to miss this one. Thanks for hanging in there, everybody. So I've seen this going around on YouTube for some time now, and I came across this cut of beef at my local grocery store. So I also purchased these UMAi dry aged bags. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this into one of these dry aged bags and put it in a refrigerator for 35 days, pull it out, chop some steaks out of it, and make some of the best steaks I've ever made in my life. Hopefully this turns out great. We're gonna see. Stick around and we'll find out. Being that this is my first time, it comes with some directions, and we're gonna try to follow these to a T to make sure that we don't mess this up, because this is a pretty pricey hunk of meat. So this is a boneless ribeye. For boneless cuts, this says that you basically want to keep this meat covered until it's in the bag, and then pull this bag off. Okay, so here is the bag that this hunk of meat's gonna go into. This is the largest bags they had, which is looking like it is going to be exactly what we need for this huge ribeye. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna start first by cutting this bag here open. Then I'm gonna slide the entire piece of meat into here, and then hopefully I'm able to just pull this bag out without losing any of the moisture, because this does recommend not wiping it off, not cleaning it. It wants all that good stuff in there to help, I believe, to help form a bond with this bag. This bag is actually going to act like a membrane, and it allows oxygen in and moisture out, but no moisture back in. And that's how we get that great dry aged on this. So first things first, let's cut this bag open and try to get it in here without making too much of a mess in here. First thing we're going to do is I'm going to give this a little cuff here, just in case I need to. That's going to help keep this outer lip dry, so when we fold it back over and we go to vacuum seal it, this will be nice and dry. Now you want to do this cut on the bigger end. It's kind of tough to see here, but this is a smaller end, less wide. This is a bigger end. You want to cut the bigger end so when you're pulling that bag off, it comes off smoothly. Next, we got to get this guy in here, which should be pretty interesting. Now for the messy part, we got to get this bag out. Let's get a tray for this transfer here, because I know there's going to be a little bit of a mess here. All right, well that was transferred. Let's clean this up and we'll be right back. So something didn't seem right with the way I was doing that by putting all that juice in there. And when I went back and I looked, it does say to drain the excess purge out of the initial bag once you open it up, and I did not do that. So I had extra juices in here. I did discard those juices, but I did not touch this meat at all. All I did was I poured the bag out and then I dried the inside of this bag out. You just want to keep this moist so the bag will adhere to it once we suck as much air out as possible. That's what we're going to try to do next, is seal this bag up here. I have my trusty food sealer here, thanks Uncle Rich, and we will go ahead and we're going to start by sealing about half of them. About half of the bag makes it more manageable to seal across this way. So we're going to hit this on an angle about halfway, and we're going to do it twice in order to ensure the seal. Check to see if we have a good seal. I'm going to hit it again because these are a little tougher to seal. Okay, this does appear to have a nice seal. So next is the important one here. We have this piece of fabric that they give you. I think they call it the vac mouse. And we're going to put that in here. Now this allows some air to get through, which is what we're really looking for this guy here. So Here's mistake number 2. I think since I didn't get all that purge out, I didn't get a good seal because it pulled all that extra liquid out. So luckily we have a couple more bags. I'm actually just gonna scrap this bag, transfer it to another bag, and start all over so I don't ruin this piece of meat. So we switched the bags. The other one did have a lot of the purge left in it, so that is a no-no, because what it does is eventually it'll start draining and pulling it all through the vac mouse, which is a no-go. New bag. I did not dry anything off. I just left the pull that was still in the other bag and I was able to flip this over. So now let's try resealing this bag again. Get a nice seal all the way across, and we're going to do one more seal just as a protective backup seal. Okay, we got 2 nice seals here. Only 2 more to go. Get that vac mouse back in there again. Okay, we got that great seal across there. We're just going to do one more seal. We're not going to get any more air out of here. Again, this is not a true traditional vacuum seal. This is more of a membrane, so there could be some air pockets, but eventually this is all going to adhere and become a membrane on this piece of meat here. So we're going to seal it up. Just another insurance seal here. All right, we have our 2 seals over the vac mouse. This is completely sealed up. Okay, so we have this on its cookie sheet, and we have a cooling rack underneath it to make sure that air can flow all around this. So this is now going to go in the refrigerator for 35 days. Gosh, I hope this lasts. I hope this comes out good. We're going to see. Got to trust the process. We're going to be back in about a week or 2 just to see how this is going. I do have the fat cap up. They do recommend that the meat side down for at least the first few days to really make sure that this membrane is in contact with the meat, because we really need this to be sealed off and make that good membrane meat connection. We'll be back in a week, 10 days to take a look at it. Well, here's the day we finally made it. I know I said I'd be back in about 10 days, 2 weeks, whatever, but things got busy and I never got around to doing a little video in between. This is about 35 and a half days in. I put it in on January 29th and I'm pulling it out on March 6th. Like I said, just over 35 days, and this thing is looking really, really good. You could tell it did a good job. It actually feels like there's a little film on here. Not really a film, but you could tell that the outer part of this ribeye has really dried out. So now all we need to do is we're going to cut this into steaks and then trim off the outer layer that's not edible. And we should see some really beautiful steak inside of here. So I'm going to cut this outer part off first on each end to kind of square it up. Then I'm going to cut these into about 1.5 inch steaks, and then we're going to show you how we trim them. As of now, again, this thing looks gorgeous. There's no bad smell to it, so we know that it did its job well. I'm super excited to get this cut up into steak, so let's go. So this side's on a little bit of an angle. I'm trying to keep as much meat on here as possible, you know, being a big chunk of meat, and we paid good money for it. So I am gonna lose a little bit of here just so we can kind of square it up so we don't have steaks that are all different shapes. But look at that. Look at that meat on the inside. Holy cow. Man, that looks great. Oh, it smells beautifully like beef, which we were hoping that we didn't mess it up and made it go rotten in there. So we know that this is looking good. Time to trim this up. Like I said, we're gonna cut this into steaks first and then trim all the parts off that we're not gonna eat. Here we go. I measured this knife, it's about 1.5 inches thick, so that's what I'm looking for. So I'm roughly gonna do 1.5 inch steaks there. Oh man. So we got these cut up into steaks, and how many do we get out of here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 1.5 inch ribeyes. So now we're gonna cut the outside edges off, because again, this is not edible. This is what's been exposed and had the moisture taken out of, and this is what's really broken down. I think you could use this later on. I've seen people put it into hamburgers or make some sort of tallow out of it. So I am gonna keep the trimmings. I'm just not sure yet what I can do with it. I'm gonna have to really research that, but we're gonna keep that. But let's put these aside, and I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna trim these up, and we'll be right back. Okay, now that we've got these steaks cut, I gotta tell you, they look awesome. You can tell just by touching the meat that it's very, very tender. Oh, this is gonna be so good. Okay, so what we need to do now is we're gonna cut, because you still have this outer layer that's no good. You're not gonna wanna eat that. So we're gonna take that off, and you can kind of see around here where it's darker, and you're gonna wanna go all around that until you get to just a good meat exposed. We'll show you what we're doing here. Again, we're gonna go down to where it's kind of dark and where that ends. And we're gonna have to do these with all these guys here. And we're gonna keep this again, because I gotta figure out what we could do with it. And we wanna try to keep fat on here too, so we don't wanna get rid of all of this. You know, anything that's good, keep on there. Now I kept these a little thicker just because I knew that they were thinner, it was a thinner cut. So some of these are bigger pieces like this one, so when we cut it, we're gonna have a bigger overall steak, but the overall contour of the steak, the whole ribeye had different levels. So some are gonna be smaller, some are gonna be bigger. This initial one's a smaller one. Okay, this one is nice and trimmed up. Now we're gonna move on, and we're gonna do all of these right now. Look at that marbling. Boom, this is gonna be a beaut right there. My gosh. Look at this marbling. If you could see that. Oh man, woohoo! We have these steaks all trimmed up, and I gotta tell you, these UMAi bags knock these out of the park. I haven't even tasted them yet, but I could tell by the color and the texture of these things that they're so tender. These are gonna cook up great. Stay tuned. Next video, we're gonna be cooking these up and trying them out. Cannot wait. Thanks for hanging in there, guys. This has been a long one coming. If you like what we did here, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, check us out on social media and Facebook. We appreciate it. Cheers, everybody. Talk to you soon.